Well, I think number one, a lot of times when you talk about Lifeplan, the counterpart to that is a rental, like monthly rental.
Right.
Because we've been involved in other contracts, that there's also straight equity model. There's a potentially, there's co-op models out there. We have a client that has that. I think so there are other models. I think the number one thing when you're talking about entrance fee versus rental is the reality is the rental communities that are being built are not necessarily substandard with construction and amenities like they used to be. The rental community used to equate to less. That's for this person who couldn't afford the entrance fee concept, couldn't afford to put the money down, so they went to a rental. That is not the case anymore. It truly is where do I feel right? And then the financial contract is another component of that. And so what we're doing, and you don't see a lot of rental communities adding an entrance fee contract, but we are seeing entrance fee contract communities add rental options for specific units or as a different, with a certain number, sometimes there's restrictions around that. But so do I think it's, totally on the way out? I think the Type C contract is probably more appealing because to your point, they're going to pay for services if and when they need it ever. But some of the rental communities, they also did a huge monthly service fee increases over COVID. And so are they pricing themselves out of that, boomer population?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think you hit most of it. I think, again, it's the model, right? And at the end of the day, whether it's not for profit or for profit, these are businesses and they have to be ran as businesses. So, if you are sticking to just your life care, life plan formula, well, if these people age in place and go to assisted living and memory care and eventually skilled nursing, is your monthly service fees even covering the cost of what labor is going to be down the road and the cost of building these communities? And so, I think the margin there gets really tight, and that's where these Type C fee for services may be a better alternative, not just for the prospect, but for the developer and the operator too. So I think they have to weigh that in. I said this on your Leading Age, snippet podcast. One of my big concerns in the industry has been monthly service fees. If a room was $4,000 or $5,000 4 years ago, and you couldn't sell it then, and now you've added about 15 to 20% worth of, raising fees on top of it. If they didn't like it at 5,000, why are they going to like it at 6,200 or 6,400? So, where I don't think the industry has changed is the market dictates a lot of what people are willing to pay. And so I think sometimes we get a little too aggressive or greedy. And I was listening to a Zoom a couple of weeks ago where if you're 86% occupancy and you feel like you've got great occupancy, don't be stubborn to rate. Like, you've got to be willing to say, does this apartment really generate this type of revenue? And leaving it empty doesn't get you any revenue either. So that would be my biggest concern is like, we've got to be flexible. And I think, I don't think we need to change the industry, but we need to be flexible in how we operate our communities for sure.